In N8n, there are a few ways you can save data, such as Google Sheets, the built-in data tables, variables, local files, etc., etc. But the problem with each of those is that at large scale projects, those data systems start to fail. Google only has a certain rate you can call API access, and for Google spreadsheets, and data tables can only store that much data. So the way around this is to use a made for data system by a company that was made to use large scale data operations. For example, Supa, Supabase or Postgres SQL are both good options. Now, for this video, I will be showing you how to use Supabase. Supabase is quite well made for API access, as it is made for that specific purpose. So everything in Supabase has an intuitive feel to it. Uh, Now first, you should know how to make a project and make a table, and then also how to set up auth so that it doesn't fail or specific events don't fail because of security reasons. Now, once you've made a project, you will have to you will uh you will have spawn in this region, so everything you need is here. If you want a table, you should go to the table editor and you can create a new table. Now, for the sake, let's tutorial 1. And when you have you're using uh this for a large scale project, I would recommend row level security, as it can prevent massive data loss, which wouldn't be ideal. Now, for this for the purpose of this tutorial, we will be disabling, as it would only be harder to uh to to bypass, etc. Now, once you've created your table, after a little while, you can add columns. So let's, for example, go username, name, username. You can add a description if you would want, but it is not necessary. And for the username data type, we would like text. Uh, Ints are just numbers. Floats are numbers with decimals, and JSON is JSON, UUID, date, time, Boolean, etc. You can even create enums, which is your own types, and for our purposes, default is usable. Now, email, also a text, and then password. Now, if you know anything about security, you would know it is a horrible idea to save a password in a database unencrypted like this, but for the sake of tutorial, YOLO it. So now we have these rows, and uh, and we have an unrestricted table. Now to access that table, you would use a Supabase create, update, get row, or delete row here, and you use you open up the create row tool, and here you have your uh, parameters you could set. Now we're doing a create a new row, not a column, new row, and you can create a row. Fields to send is the data you send. We will not be sending the data just yet, as we will do that in a separate node. So it creates a new empty row. Now to populate that row with information, we're gonna use the uh, the update row, which is specifically which is a specific row type that updates a specific API call that updates the row. Now you would build manually. It's preferred as you manually set the strings. Now to update a row, you have to check which row to update. In this case, you can add a condition, and then that condition can be any field and a operator which you would want to check, and then the value you would want to check that operator on. For example, the ID, when so this the create row returns an ID which is specific to each row, and then if the ID equals, so if the ID in the database row equals the ID for the create row, then you would add these define the columns below. To add an extra field, you could add you just click add an extra field, and you can add an extra field. So for username, we set a username. For the password, we set a password. For the email, we set the email. Then we get the data in the row. So we get the data using the created at as a condition to get the row. You can also get multiple rows, which basically just iterates over a bunch of rows and gets the data. So in tutorial 1, we get the row that was created at the specific time the uh, the row was created as, then delete row, which also has a condition which we use created as and is equal to created as. So if it finds a row that has been created at the same time, it will delete that row. So what this program does is it creates a row in the Supabase, it updates that row, it gets the data in that row, and then deletes the row. I think we could see it happen if we switch fast enough. So if I click execute, no, we were too slow. And so let's just cut off the delete real quick. And If we refresh, we will see the data in the table. Here we have it, the ID, the created ad, the username, the email, and the password, all stored securely in your own database through N8n. Thank you for watching. Bye.